When we were young, we all used to go every Saturday night for saunas, and one family would go at a time. The rest of us would sit in the kitchen. They always had Kool-Aid for the kids and that hard Finn toast. We'd sit on the wood box by the stove and wait for our turn to go into the sauna. My grandfather had built it. It was like a stove in the corner, and you throw a dipper of water on it, and the steam comes up. It was fired from outside.
Fire that sauna up with a roaring fire in it all day long, and then when the first people in were the men, and I'm sure it was well over 200 degrees Fahrenheit in there, and you were a real Finn if you sat on these tiers, and when you got up the top tier, you were a Finn.
And then when you finished with all of the sweating part, then there were two tubs, a tub of hot water, and they were more like casks or something, great big barrels. But we didn't use the Finnish birch branches or anything, just washed. And it was a meeting place. We had a close family when we were young.
That's when they told all what's happening, and they would tell jokes. And the thing was that my mother didn't speak Finnish, and of course the jokes were a little bit raunchy, and so they would tell the joke up to the punchline, which they would then switch to Finnish. And us kids knew Finn fairly well. We knew those words because the words they would use when something goes wrong out in the field. Yeah. That Sonny Bosco and what Haiti, Naiti Pavia and so on. And we knew those words, and so they would say the punchline in Finn, and my mother wouldn't get it, and some of the other people who weren't Finnish wouldn't get it. And as we were coming back to Winlock, where we lived at that time, that evening, my mother had asked my father what the punchline of what the joke was, and he'd forgotten, and I would say, well, tell her what it was, and she'd say, you're not supposed to say that, and then it was the same argument over and over.